You're listening to Power Plug Radio, home of your throwback jams.
Yes. Good morning, St. Pete and surrounding areas. My name is Marielle Summers, and welcome to the Summers for St. Pete podcast. I'm your humble and gracious, highly grateful candidate for District 6 on our St. Pete City Council. And guess what, y'all? We are here in the fourth quarter, so I don't have a lot of time to spend with y'all today. Just came to do a few brief updates, and I can't miss the opportunity to shed some light on what will be on your ballot this coming November. So we are 18 short days away, 18 days and counting. Actually 17 days and 12 hours. So, cut it how you want it. But we're in the home stretch now. November 2nd is the day. And, you got to tell your people, get your vote plan together now. You can still request a mail-in ballot. All you have to do is call up to the Supervisor of Elections office. They are open Monday through Friday, I believe 8 to 5, 727-464-8683, or just Google Pinellas County Supervisor of Elections, and they will be happy to assist you. So till 10/24, you can request a mail-in ballot. But if you plan on just voting on election day, I vote on election day. I like, the whole process, going through, getting my sticker, and I can't wait to kind of walk in on that day and circle my name on the ballot. That's going to be a surreal experience. But I'm hoping you all share in that when you fill in my name on your ballot. Get your vote plan together. Make sure you know how your family members are voting. If you're that one family member who's always leading the charge, start getting the troops together now, because every vote matters, and we don't want to lose this over 40 or 50 votes. Let's get it done. There are a lot of benefits to requesting a mail-in ballot. Not only does it come right to your door, but you get to sit with your ballot for a second. You get to see who's on it, research each candidate, do your due diligence. There are going to be 7 charter amendments. We'll talk about those a little bit later here. You don't want to walk into the voting booth and not feel prepared. Maybe you've heard about me. Maybe you've heard about Ken Welch. Maybe you've heard another name out there, but maybe you aren't familiar with all of the names, all of the districts, and all of the amendments. And so you don't want to be blindsided. You don't want to, this name sounds good. This sounds good. Let's make sure we're educating ourselves on the vote. Avoid the rush. If you're somebody who works at 8 to 5, if you're somebody who's not going to have the flexibility on November 2nd to, go to the polls at whatever time, you don't want to be, caught between that 6 to 7 crowd and worried about, is your vote going to count? So request a mail-in ballot. You can do that today, until 5 o'clock. The campaign is moving right along, y'all. This has easily been the hardest yet most rewarding experience of my life. We are working hard every week, and every week the hard work is paying off. Y'all are sending in donations. We're starting our direct voter contact. It's costly. It costs a lot to contact voters directly. But we are doing our due diligence. We got about 14 days left to collect money. Campaign finance laws say, you got until 4 days before the election to take your last monies in. And believe me, y'all, every dollar counts for this direct voter contact. You got to get your ads on TV. You got to send out the mailers. You got to do the text campaigns. A lot of people, don't. They're like, I hate when these people call. I hate when these people text. And I can tell you from the candidate side of things, it's absolutely necessary. And if you're getting a call, a text, a mailer, the reason is because the data shows that you're a voter. If you're getting a lot of them, the data shows that you're a good voter. And people want to earn your vote. So look at it as kind of like a honor if you're being bombarded, because I'm definitely going to do my best to bombard you. But this is why money in politics matters, folks. If you're, looking at a situation where you have to get in contact with over 100,000 people, and the means of doing that is going to cost you anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000. You can't not have and not raise money and expect to be a true competitor. So the money game in politics, as perverse as it can be sometimes, as a candidate, I'm battling it. And we can't win this election without it. So please keep sending in your donations, keep mailing in your checks. Visit summersforstpete.com. Drop $10 in the till. Drop 50. Drop 100. I mean, you could drop up to 1,000, and some people have done it. So be a hero, man, and let's save District 6. Some other campaign updates. We participated in the Pinellas County Democratic Black Caucus's forum earlier this week. And it was just a pleasure to be asked genuine questions that affect the minority voter base. And to have all of the candidates have to speak directly to those points and not just kind of include, the minority plight inside of other points. And so that was awesome. I always am talking about visible equity and what that looks like, and how, our city is just missing, the opportunity to have a small Chicago, a small Harlem, a small New Orleans, small Atlanta right here in South St. Pete, how we have the potential, how the entrepreneurs are there, the businesses are there, the cultural interest is there, how we just simply are at this last place before we reach the promised land, where we need these leaders, we need government, public, private partnerships, and we'll get it. So happy to have earned the endorsement from the Pinellas County Democratic Black Caucus. Yet another endorsement in the books. Let's clap up. And we're gonna keep them coming. And so working hard for that. We also did an interview this past week on In Touch News. They have a show. Angela hosts the Tampa Bay Politics show over there in Tampa. And sat down with her, had a nice, thorough conversation about, who I am, what some of the issues are in our area, and, why I'm running and what I think I can get done. So check that out. We've been meeting with folks. That's another big part. You just never know. I came into this thinking, look, I know a lot of people. But what I had to come to realize is that there are a lot of people who don't know me. And you just never know when you're sitting down and meeting someone for the first time what that's going to translate into. And lucky and blessed for me, a lot of these meetings are translating into new relationships. They're translating into donations. They're translating into visibility in other parts of the city. People who were on the fence perhaps and didn't know who they were going to vote for, just after a good conversation with me, are not only convinced that I'm the better candidate, but prepared to tell others and to begin actively working on my behalf. And so the insurgency continues for Summers for St. Pete as we kind of build out our team of disruptors all around this city, who are just kind of disrupting the old way of being a legitimate candidate. You don't need to worry about focusing on a limited group and raising money and limiting yourself to just those activities, but instead getting out grassroots style, talking across the aisle, meeting across the aisle, and spreading the information beyond your base. We'll see. Come November 2nd, we'll see if the strategy pays off. No matter the outcome, the narrative has been changed. The narrative has been changed in District 6. People are going to expect more these next 4 years because they've been discussing what's possible, and we've given them a good case to let them know that their possibilities are well within reach. In fact, if they vote for me, I will bring these things into fruition. The field team has been out knocking doors, on the phones, dropping signs. Request your sign today. I'm going to hold it up here, y'all. Our beautiful signs are in. Request your sign today. There is a form on our Summers for St. Pete's Facebook, and I'll be sure to drop it here on my personal page and make it public. There's a form. If you just fill out the form, somebody at some point in time, like Santa Claus, will come and drop a sign right in your yard. Very easy. But beyond the signs, because anyone will tell you yard signs don't win elections, I need your help volunteering. Maybe one of these days, Saturdays, tomorrow, that's a great day. I'll be out 9:00 tomorrow morning at the Enoch Davis Center. That's where we're launching from. So come on out. It's super fun. You're just walking around letting people know, hey, election's coming up and this is who I recommend you vote for. And now more than ever, I've been doing this for a few years now, y'all, and now more than ever, people are interested. People aren't just closing the door on us like we're salespeople or religious people or anything like that. When you let them know that, hey, there's an election coming up and you need to know this information, their ears perk up. And so, come do it. It's fun and you feel real good afterwards. You feel like you've really helped move democracy forward. So volunteer with us, talk on the phones if you're not ready to get out with the COVID crowd. We got some phone lists, we can call up 30 people, let them know. Everything helps, y'all. Everything helps. So talked about it, 14 more days to collect on our donations. Please do your best to send in what you can, but money is not the end all be all. It really comes down to doing the work. And the work means showing up. You have to be present. One of the main things at the Pinellas County Democratic Black Forum this past week, unfortunately, my opponent canceled last minute and was not present. If you tell people you're going to come, you have to be present. And if people are depending on you as their leader, showing up is half the battle. So being present is a big part that offsets that money. The field work that we're doing, like I said, these little insurgencies all around St. Pete. We're not just in South St. Pete knocking. We're not just in District 6 knocking. No, we are in North St. Pete. We're in West St. Pete. We're out in District 1 by Walter Fuller. We're out in District 2 up by Gandy. We are knocking on doors all around the city. And guess what? Folks are like, oh, who's in the race? Oh, do you know who's representing you right now in District 6? No, I have no idea. And so it's really fertile. It's real fair ground for us to say, well, look, I'm a candidate and you should consider voting for me. And it's working. The other part of that is building relationships. If you aren't going to have the money, you have to show up. You have to have a strong field game, but you have to build relationships. You have to know who the club and caucus leaders are and not be afraid to reach out. The neighborhood associations, you have to reach out. You have to do your due diligence to know who your business leaders are in the community, your grassroots activists. And this is just from an advisory standpoint, but these are tactics that I've been taking this entire campaign, and I think they're paying off very handsomely because we're very much in this race. So those are pretty much some campaign updates. We will continue to work hard through the buzzer here. Let's make history, St. Pete. Let's do this. I need your help. What is the history we'll be making? We're unseating an incumbent, unseating somebody who is already served, an incumbent. That's somebody who's running, who currently holds the office. So for us as a first-time candidate, for me as a first-time candidate to run and unseat an incumbent would be history making. I would be the youngest council member elected to St. Pete City Council. I think that says something about the new era of leadership that St. Pete is ready for. And we can make that statement with this election. I'd also be the first Black LGBTQ person on council. And as we talk about finding equity in our city, a lot of people in the South St. Pete talk about Grand Central and all the developments that have been made there for LGBTQ friendly businesses and so forth. Why not, vote for somebody who can sit at a crossroads and be an ambassador for both communities? I just think it's a win-win for the city. Lastly, we would surely be the largest money. We would surely be the largest money margin. Let's prove that the democratic process can't be bought. You can raise the six figures. You can, buy up all of the ad time and ad space and try and buy voters, but it does not offset knowing your community, showing up and getting to know the leaders in your community. So let's prove this. Let's make history, St. Pete. I'm having an event this Monday. I invite you to come on out. It'll be at Urban Drinkery, right here on 9th Avenue South and 22nd Street. I think we got a flyer to pull up. Do we get? Yeah. 2184 9th Ave. That is Urban Drinkery. And Urban Drinkery is a new small business that's opening in a few weeks here. And we're having the opportunity to host a private event prior to their grand opening. So yes, please, folks, come on out this Monday evening at 6:00 to this fundraiser, but also to meet and greet, ask some questions, and show support. The main thing is showing support. We'll have some signs there. If you have not yet gotten your yard sign, come on out and pick one up then, and it'll be a great time for you to drop your $10 in the till. So come on out Monday night, Urban Drinkery. Let's support small business, and let's support Summers in this race. So where are we at time wise? Oh, we're on good time. Okay. So I'm just going to take a few more of your minutes, this Friday, y'all. Actually, we're gonna take a quick break. Let's take a quick break here. I'm Mariel Summers. This is the Summers for St. Pete podcast. When we come back, I do want to talk with you real quick about the candidates you can expect to see on your ballot and these amendments. There are going to be 7 charter amendments. Want to talk about those and make sure that y'all are prepared with that information. I'm Mariel Summers, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Power Plug Radio, home of your throwback jams.
All of these words whispered in my ear tell a story that I cannot bear to hear. Just 'cause I said it don't mean that I meant it. People say crazy things. Just 'cause I said it don't mean that I meant it. Just 'cause you heard it. Rumor has 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 it. He's the one I'm leaving you for.
This is Forex Tony, and we're here celebrating Central Station Barbershop and Grooming for the work that they have done with the Barbershop Book Club for giving out over 4,000 books to students in our community. If you would like to support and donate them, please go to 2325 Central Avenue, St. Petersburg, Florida 33713.
You are listening to Power Plug Radio, home of your throwback jam.
When you said to John
You're listening to Power Plug Radio, home of your throwback jams.
All right, so just a few more moments, y'all. Welcome back to the Summers for St. Pete podcast. My name is Marielle Summers, and I'm running for City Council, District 6. I'm your candidate, so make sure you vote for me November 2nd. We talked about a lot of voting stuff on the first half of the show, and I just want to make sure that you're clear that no matter where you live in the city, you are going to have 4 city council seats to vote for, as well as the mayor. Doesn't matter where you live, and it's okay. We'll talk about that second part when we talk about the charter amendments, because one of the charter amendments pertains to the whole should you have to vote for people who don't live in your district aspect. But nonetheless, we all know that our mayoral candidates are Council Member Robert Blackman versus former County Commissioner Ken Welch. That's going to be on your ballot for mayor. You will also have District 1, which District 1 pretty much is, like I said, Walter Fuller, West St. Pete. You're going to have 2 candidates. You'll have Copley Gertis and you'll have Bobby Swaley on your ballot. Look out for both of those. I just went to Copley's event this past week. He had a great event down at Toriano's Pizza and More. And shout out to the Gertis family. They have been in St. Pete and local politics for many, many years. So it's nice to see Copley having the opportunity to run in District 1. District 4 will also be on your ballot, and you will be able to choose between Tom Mullins and Lisette Hanowitz. Tom Mullins and Lisette Hanowitz for District 4. And have had an opportunity to sit with them. Lisette is an attorney. She has a lot of knowledge. She would be probably the first Hispanic city council member that we would have the privilege of having on our council. And let me tell you, she'd be a good first. She's a great person. So District 6, me, I won't go any further than that. District 6, Marielle Summers. That's all you need to know about District 6. And then in District 8, you will have former council member Jeff Danner going against Richie Floyd. And I have not hit my respect for Richie all campaign season. He's just been very consistent. Just everything you love about grassroots democracy is Richie Floyd. So look into the candidates, y'all. District 1, District 4, District 6. I mean, that's me. Don't look into District 6. You already know who you're voting for there. And then District 8. And then for your mayoral race, it's really going to come down to experience. For me, it's really going to come down to palatability. It's really going to come down to the ability to be wide reaching. And so I've, not been shy in the fact that I am voting for Ken Welch. I personally am. And I think you should too. So those are the candidates for mayor and for all of the city council races. We are going to also have 7 charter amendments to vote for. 7 amendments. And I wanted to spend a little time here talking about, what those amendments are, what they're going to look like, and how you should be prepared to look at them. So Amendment 1 is what I was talking about when I said the charter is currently set up to where in the primary election, which is the one that you voted on this past August, if there are more than 2 candidates in the race, then, everyone battles it out and the 2 people who get the highest percentage go on to the general election. If there are only 2 candidates in the race, like District 6, like I've been, then there's no primary, which means I wasn't on anyone's ballot in August, and both of those candidates go straight to the general election for a citywide election. The charter amendment for 1 would make it so that these are single seats, meaning instead of the entire city voting on all of the districts, only the people who live in that district will vote for that district. I am voting yes on this, and I'll tell you why. There's this big fear that if we, turn this into a single member voting style city council, that the council members will have no reason to care about issues in other areas. That is a fallacy. Do not be confused by that, because if the people we duly elect are not holding up their responsibility to represent all of St. Pete because their voters don't come from that area, that's something that we as residents in the community should be able to hold them accountable for. We shouldn't have to have this confusing local election process where, like I said, we're in North St. Pete now, we're in West St. Pete, and people don't even know who our District 6 representative is, let alone the fact that they have to vote on this person in 17 days. Too many residents in St. Petersburg are barely in touch with who their city council representative is, let alone do they have time to know and learn the platforms of 3 other districts. It's not realistic. And I think if we're thinking about it from that lens, we're asking the government to make the voting process more comprehensive. If this was a single member system already, if yes was already in place, folks like Richie Floyd would already be elected. Richie Floyd won 52% of the vote in the primary when it was specifically his district. And now the polls show him behind in the citywide race. How is it that over 52% of the residents who live in your district can choose you as the representative, but if it's put to a citywide election, you're now behind? It's confusing. And what it does is it removes genuine representation, and you can buy candidates, you can buy seats, you can buy elections. That's what's happening here in District 6. While we're out and we're meeting folks who don't know who our representative is in District 6, our incumbent is trying to buy this election. Buy it by the ad, buy it by the mailer. But, when you have 6 figures to just pump out, you can confuse a lot of people, and it's not fair. You want to talk about, is it easy? None of this is easy. None of it's easy. This is the hardest thing I've ever done. So how do we make this hard process equitable? How do we make it fair and truly representative of the people who live in these areas? I think you vote yes on one. Amendment 2. So Amendment 2 is tricky, right? Amendment 2 is about district boundaries. And it looks to create a new way of drawing district boundaries for the city council seats. The district boundaries are drawn every 10 years, just like all of our redistricting in this nation. It comes after the census. The census happens every 10 years. 2020, last year, they did the census, and based on the population changes and so forth, they look to make new lines at local government level, state government, and our federal government. So redistricting is something that's going to be happening everywhere. What Amendment 2 looks to do is codify the way that we redistrict here in St. Pete, and it looks to do it under this language of equity. Long story short, I'm voting no on Amendment 2, and I'll tell you why. The terminology is way too ambiguous and could be subjective. what is equity, right? We as a city are still working to define what that even means, what it even looks like. And so to add this into our charter without a clean understanding, I think it leaves the risk of that being used in a way that it wasn't designed, right? Let's say racial equity is the thing that we're seeking for when we're drawing these district lines. It sounds good, right? But if all of the population of black voters, or a big number of them, are densely located in South St. Pete, and that population is carved into 4 different districts for the sake of equity, right? What in turn is really happening is the black vote gets diluted. It gets diluted. We get communities that are mixed in, that have nothing in common. And it doesn't stop there. I mean, what if we're talking about gender equity? What if we're talking about income equity? I don't like the language. I think it's too ambiguous, and it can be used in the wrong way. So for that reason, I'm also voting no. And then the other part of that is it adds these restrictions. There's all this hidden stuff that you really don't pay attention to, but it's anyone who has held elected office in the city or was a candidate for St. Pete elected office couldn't be allowed to sit on a commission for 10 years. I'd have to sit out a whole decade because I've run for office now. And as somebody who's run for office, wouldn't be allowed to be on a commission. I don't know how much sense that makes to y'all, but it really looks to keep the people, in my opinion, the people who have the closest ear to the table, the closest viewpoint to what's going on. It kind of redlines them out of being in a position to be elected. A lot of your experience can come through being a staffer. I've worked for elected officials and wouldn't feel half as prepared for the job as I do now without that experience. But if that experience would disqualify me then from running, I think Amendment 2 does a lot to disqualify eligible candidates. So no on 2, please, big no on 2. And then 3 and 4 are crazy. They play around with the word equity a lot. I don't like how the word equity is being manipulated these days for to suit the outcomes that they I guess weren't originally intended when equity was brought into the political realm. But here we go. So Amendment 3 would require the city to set up equity framework to address equity gaps. The city would have to devise an equity action plan, and it creates a position for a chief equity officer who reports directly to the mayor. This sounds good, but again, it's things that can be done right now without us adding this to our charter. We don't need, per se, taxpayer money to fill another cushy job to achieve equity. We have the key stakeholders in the community. We have the entrepreneurs. I talked about it in the first half of the show. We have all of the tools. What we're missing is the leadership. And changing the charter for Amendment 3 is not going to fix the leadership problem, right? That's why this election is so important. Who you put in power these next 4 years can very well achieve identifying an equity framework, could very well achieve the way that the city can address these gaps without taxpayers and time and our charter being this bureaucratic process in which we have to evaluate equity. To me, it's time wasting. It sounds good, it looks good, but it doesn't achieve the problem. It wastes taxpayers' dollars. It has equity. It's an equity flag. It's an equity banner that we can wave to say that we did it. But the time is now for action. We've done all the studying. We've done all the mapping. We've accepted the disparity study. We don't need to, in my opinion, vote for Amendment 3. So no on 3. Now, Amendment 4 is a different story. Amendment 4 would set up funding for equity-related issues. That's a little different. I believe with the right public-private partnerships, we can, as a community, devise ways to address these equity issues, to address these disparities, and it may very well take money to do so. And so to have money set aside, or to have money that is intentionally purposed to close those equity gaps, I think would benefit us. It benefit us tremendously. The CRA is a great pool. It's a great source of funding. But to have funding specifically addressed, because the CRA, they are what? They're there. The CRAs are mainly there for community redevelopment area. The pool is originally focused on infrastructure. It's originally focused on infrastructure. But the Southside CRA is maybe one of the only in the state that is dual in this form, where it offers infrastructure as well as programming. And you get a lot of things that come out of these programs that I think benefits the community. But equity and how we achieve closing some of the disparity gaps, all of that may not fit under the lens on the purview of what the CRA is designed for. So that is why I'm supporting Amendment 4. So far we got yes on 1, no on 2, no on 3, yes on 4. I got a few more here, and I said I wasn't gonna take your whole hour, but here I am with just a few minutes to go. Let's take a look at Amendment 5 real quick. The rest of these are not so, I guess, I don't want to say not so serious, but I guess, the rest of these are just deciding like top city jobs. Amendment 5, right? Clarifying the role of the top 3 most important city employees who aren't duly elected. Your mayor is duly elected. All of your city council officials are duly elected, but your top city jobs, the city administrator or the vice mayor, the city clerk, and the city council administrative officer. These are 3 important people in your city government, and right now they are largely appointed by the mayor. And the mayor, we had a strong mayor format. The mayor really has the discretion over their jobs, their employment, and so this would change the charter to say that city council would have to play a role in changing those top city jobs, that it would not fall exclusively under the mayor's purview. I'm voting yes on that one. And then the last 2, the city charter review and redistricting schedule and the city charter preamble, that's 6 and 7. For the review and redistricting schedule, I'm voting yes on it. I think what this is trying to do is give us a little bit more room in between the 2 processes. The charter review, which are these charter amendments where we look at our city charter and say, well, what should we add? What should we take away? What should we adjust? It's time consuming. And then the redistricting, again, that goes back to the lines that we're drawing right now. Where's District 6? Where's District 1? Where's District 4? We redistrict, we redraw those lines every 10 years. And Amendment 6 is pretty much saying, should we continue to do those at the same time like we do right now? Or should we change the charter so that the review happens at the end of the 9th year, as opposed to the full 10? I think it's a good idea. I think it gives us a little bit more time to think thoroughly about what it is we're doing. So I'm voting yes on 6 and 7. So if you're keeping tally, that's yes on 1, no on 2, no on 3, yes on the rest. Yes on the rest. So those are the amendments. Y'all, be very, very vigilant about what it is that you're voting for. Don't just vote for what sounds good, because believe me, these lawmakers are really skilled at writing things in a way that make it sound like you should say yes, when really the outcome is going to be something where you would have said, man, I would have said no to something like this. So be vigilant. We're down to the last 18 days and counting, 17 days and 12 hours. But I'm going to work these 12 hours off. So we're in it to win it. I'm glad to have your support. And I hope to see you sometime this weekend. I'll be around as always. But Monday night, if I don't see you this weekend, I want to see you. I want to see you there Monday night, 6:00, Urban Drinkery. We'll be there. It's a new small business. We'll be raising money, shaking hands, and passing out yard signs. So please join me. Summers for St. Pete. That's the flyer there. And we'll make sure to share the event. And yeah, that's about it. So that's it on this nice, beautiful Friday. We have maybe 3 Fridays left, y'all, before D-Day. So I'll be back next Friday. We'll get a guest host in here. But my name is Mariel Summers. I'm a candidate for District 6, and this is Power Plugs Radio's Summers for St. Pete podcast. We will see you next week. Y'all have a good one.
You're listening to Power Plug Radio, home of your throwback jams.